Hi everybody, hope you're looking forward to this very exciting evening that we've got ahead for you. Just having a little bit of technical problems here, but we've got a great show lined up for you as normal. We've got Mustafa Hassanali from Tanzania, who's going to be with us today. It's going to be a great show as always. We're going to be talking about fashion from East Africa and its effects on the African continent, because East Africa is doing some great stuff, absolutely amazing stuff. And Mustafa's already joined us. I just want to try and we're going to bring you on in a minute, Mustafa. I just want to do our introductions and we're just going to bring you on in a second. Let's get straight into it. Let's not waste any time, because we want to spend our time this evening talking to the great Mustafa. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Shola Oyebade, also known as Mr. Mahogany, and I'm your host for this evening. And I just want to introduce you to our show, which is Fashion's Finest Africa, the chat room. It's fantastic, amazing show, very interactive. You know, we talk about everything fashion. It's brought to you by Fashion's Finest Africa, the leading fashion platform in Africa. Now, of course, I'm your host. We like to celebrate new and emerging fashion designers and creators. We're all about celebrating fashionpreneurs and fashionistas, and we concentrate on everything on the fashion industry. Let me bring my guest on, please, because I think I've been talking too much. Let's bring Mustafa on. This is somebody I've known for a number of years, and it's just so good to be able to talk to him. I'm looking I'm very excited about this, as you can tell from my voice. I don't know what's happening here. I'm trying to put some stuff on my whatever comments, and it's not coming up, but don't worry. Mustafa, sorry, I sent you the invitation. I think, okay. Now I think you're getting the invitation. Okay, so Mustafa is going to come on in a second. So as we just wait for him to come on, hey, that's my man. Mustafa, how you doing?
I'm good.
Oh, it's so good to have you all the way from Tanzania in East Africa. We have you live and direct.
Well, it is live and direct, yes.
That's right. I want to get straight into it, but before I do, please let me introduce you, because I got to introduce you to everybody out there, as I like to do with all my guests, give them a little bit of a profile about you. Mustafa Hassanali is a fashion designer and qualified doctor. Guys, he's a qualified doctor whose work has been featured widely throughout Africa and other parts of the world. His designs reflect the deeply embedded cultural heritage of the Tanzanian society. He is known for his intricate work with beading and embellishments. Mustafa's zest for fashion is not only limited at fostering his own creations and offering something new to his target audience, but he also believes in the enhancement of the Tanzanian fashion industry and East Africa on the whole. Guys, please give it up for Mustafa. Oh God, I'm so excited. I've known you for a long while. So
exactly, sure. I've known you for so long. It's such an honor to meet you. I mean, it's such an honor to meet you online and do this chat. I was like, okay, let's do this.
Definitely. What we're trying to do here is that we're trying to bring fashion from across Africa to the world, if you get what I'm trying to say here. Fashion does not just consist of West Africa, Nigeria, and Ghana. There's fashion going on in South Africa. The great things, I know the things that you've been doing, but I'm going to get you to talk yourself about them. All these amazing things that's going on. So let's get straight into it. I want to ask you a question. You're a trained doctor, okay? And you're in fashion. How on earth did you move from medicine, I'm assuming, to fashion? How did it happen? What's the story behind you becoming a fashion designer?
I think Shola, it's very, very simple. When you are everybody studying, going through a university, they always have to do something to something parallel, you know, whether you are taking photographs, you're selling, you're working in a library, you're doing something during university. So since time immemorial, since I remember, I always wanted to be a doctor, and I always wanted to be a cosmetologist, you know, a plastic surgeon.
Right.
And it's funny enough that when I was growing up through teenage life, I started loving the human figure and especially woman, and I started designing, but it was only as good as on the paper. And when I was going through the university, I think most people, whether you're in Africa, Asia, or anywhere in the world, there's that little freedom you get when you are in the university, especially when you're coming from conservative society like ours. So, and I just wanted one of my dresses to, while I was studying medicine, I just wanted one dress only, and to be made for somebody, and 1 + 1 = 2, and I ended up doing a collection for a local pageant, and I was promised that if these local pageant winners, they'll go to Miss Tanzania, and if they win for Miss Tanzania, you will design for them for Miss World. Now try telling that to a teenager. Try telling that to a teenager that you're going to design for Miss Tanzania for Miss World. You know, and I just went ballistic, and it just so happened that year, that same year, so the contestants I designed for the winners for Miss Tanzania pageant, and the winner for that year's Miss Tanzania wore my dress.
Wow.
And Miss Tanzania then was a big event in 1999. And here I am, one thing led to another. And by the time I graduated, I knew that I took a break. Once I graduated, I took a break to focus on fashion, and let's see if it can just not only be my bread and butter, but also jam too. So I took that 6 months break, and that 6 months break has God knows how many years now. I never went back.
Wow, that's such an amazing story, and it just goes to show that fashion is open to everybody, and you can make a successful career of it. I mean, I don't normally like to talk about COVID-19, but I think in this particular case it's a bit relevant. How would you describe the fashion industry in East Africa? And you can either concentrate on Tanzania or you can concentrate on East Africa. Pre-COVID-19, and how do you think it's going to be post-COVID-19?
Shola, it's very simple. We were in a rate race. I mean, the entire global industry, whichever business you roller coaster ride, you know, you are in a rate race. We were one show after another show, you know, one collection after another collection, one destination to the next. I mean, we were in a roller coaster ride, and we as human beings, we never got that opportunity to like stop, take a break, you know. So True. It was a matter of nature coming to force us to stop, you know. So we know our lives, how it was pre-COVID. We know our lives in COVID, and now we are going to determine how to go post-COVID. And when we are discussing that, we all changed our dynamism. So suddenly we were jobless.
Right.
We were all jobless, and we were wondering how we are going to survive the next day. And and during COVID, and no designer can say, or no production house or no apparel factory can deny the fact that COVID in itself was a blessing in disguise, because it became essential. We had to work.
Right. Okay.
So we all had to change the way we work. Suddenly everybody is producing masks because it became essential. Suddenly everybody is producing garments for the hospitals. Suddenly each and every apparel factories in the world are now producing garments to suit the COVID era. And if you see, our life has changed and will change. So post 9/11, we never had security issues.
True.
So in this world, there was not every airport you go, every transit, there's security checks you have to. So we are so used to that security checks. But those who lived the pre-9/11 era weren't allowed. Before, we could even go on the cockpit and take pictures. Now you can't even think, you can't even knock on the door unless you are a super celebrity. You know, maybe, just maybe, you might, or an aviation blogger, they might just allow you. And even that, when you're on ground, not on the plane. So they will never allow you inside the plane while it's on air to take photos in the cockpit. Similarly, we just have to, we are a human race. And since time immemorial, we have adapted and adapted to situations in this world. So if you go to sea, we just have to live with COVID. Whether HIV/AIDS, we live, which has no cure. We live with the malaria.
True.
So what we have to do is we have to be selfish and protect ourselves first. So we have to keep that social distancing, protect yourself, you know, first. So they say charity begins at home, you know, so protect yourself. And prevention is better than cure. So we can go and talk about it, but it is a high time that we just adapt and adapt and work hard and bring the dynamism. Because at the end of the day, clothing is a basic necessity.
Yes.
Clothing is a basic necessity, and the entire value chain is there, and it needs our support.
It's no, I mean, you've made some very good points. In fact, I've never analyzed it like that. That 9/11, look at the changes that happened. Look at HIV/AIDS. Even look at Ebola and stuff like that. We managed to get through all of these things, and we will get through this. When you look at I mean, you are a major player. I mean, that cannot be underestimated. You're a major player in the East African fashion scene. I mean, I don't think there's anybody within that vicinity that does not know you. You've been around a long time. You've achieved some great stuff. You're a multi-award-winning fashion designer. How much support would you say that fashion designers in East Africa get from corporate bodies and the government? I mean, I ask this because I say that one of the major factors that fashion creatives face all over Africa is that there's not adequate funding for the industry, particularly for new and emerging designers. So is this different in East Africa, or is it the same? What are the sort of problems you face there?
Let's clarify one thing, that fashion is a business.
True.
I mean, we need to get it right through our head. Fashion is business. And until and unless you don't accept that fact, we will always be playing the cry me card, you know? We are not getting support, there's no funding, whatever. We'll always be crying. And as Africa, we are always on the crying side, you know? And we need to change the story. We need to change the narrative. We need to change the dynamics. I mean, let me give you a particular example, right?
Okay.
There was nothing like maybe 25, 30 years ago, Nollywood did not exist.
True.
The Nigerian film, but today you get a Netflix pays for Nigerian movies. Before, South Africa was the entertainment hub for Africa. I mean, Southern Sahara Africa, if I was to correct myself. Today, it isn't. It is Nigeria. And that only happened because they brought in the change themselves. So the change starts from within. So we have to build processes, and we have to build platforms so that our designers can think, A, fashion is business. And as long as you don't think fashion is a business, nobody wants to invest in castles made from air. People want to invest in a castle which has a foundation, which has proper walls, you know, because at the end of the day, there has to be return on investment. That's number one. Number two, there is a huge business in this part of the world. And with the Africa continental trade happening, that just changes the dynamism. We are 1.7 billion Africans,
Wow.
right? And if we are 1.7 billion Africans, and trust me, even that 1% is not wearing made in Africa. That's shame on us.
True.
That's shame on us. What is the intra, for example, East Africa, we're talking East Africa, right? East Africa has a how do I say, population of 177 million, something around that. That of the 1.7 billion Africans, so we are only 10%, right? How many East Africans were made in East Africa, or made in Rwanda, or made in Kenya, or made in Tanzania? Now that scenario is changing very fast in Africa, I mean in Tanzania. So what we can see 10, 15 years ago and what we see now, a lot of Tanzanians are wearing Tanzanian designers, led to brands being created. Because of that brands being created, there's a lot of income and there's the industry has grown tremendously. Today we have just, the industry has grown, fashion industry in Tanzania. So there's a lot to be done, and I can go talking about it. I mean, how many apparel industries do we have in Africa? Not for export. No. Just for local consumption. How much? We are still relying, well, our population, our people cannot afford made in our own garments produced in our own respective countries. So there's a lot of opportunity and a lot of potential. And until that, put it into a proper business plan, fashion will just be seen as an entertainment. Go to an event, sit on a front row, clap your hands, and voila, and take selfies and pictures and walk on the red carpet. It will be just that.
So if I'm
and sorry to say this, most of our designers will always remain poor, and that's the hard reality.
Okay, so this I have to take you up on this. Explain, because I think there's a lot of people here that know you that are on here. There's people from different parts of Africa that are on here, including the UK, including I'm seeing people from America, Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, other places. So you just made a statement, which is that most of our designers will remain poor. Explain what you mean by that. Yeah, sorry, Mustafa. So what I said was that you made a statement saying that you said most of our designers would remain poor. Explain what you mean by that. What are they doing wrong that you are making that statement?
Oops. You know, let me be honest with you on that front. We are rich in culture. We are rich in culture. We are rich in resources. We are rich in labor. We are rich in each and every aspect. Yet when we get married, we want to go and when we want to go outside the country and buy Europe, we take our hard-earned money, right? And we shop for a wedding gown from America. Or we buy from our local boutiques, which stock clothing from outside the world, instead of or outlets which make clothing in that respective African country. That's number one. Number two, we'll always remain poor because we allow our cultural identity to be used for financial gains by big brand houses in the Western world. So whether it is the Kentes of Ghana or the Masai Shukas of Africa, or what we call the African fabrics, they'll always be used by. So when we have been using it, we have been called cultural, you know. But when an international brands, it's like, oh my God, wow, it's a revolution. But these fabrics, our grandfathers have been wearing since time immemorial. The copyright. Why should another a designer should use the exact replica of the fabric, you know, and add value, and they don't add value to it also. They just use the fabric it is. Like what happened to the Ethiopian national dress. It was suddenly used for London Fashion Week. Where is the creativity? Who has copyrighted it? Yeah, and we could say still for our carvings, our art, our paintings. Where are our artifacts? You know, which from the kingdoms, West African kingdoms to the East African chiefdoms. Where are the artifacts? They still earn money for the colonial powers in Europe. I wish that money, part of it also was being repatriated to develop our culture scene. But no, it is their museums benefiting, not us. For our fabrics, where is our history? So we always remain poor. And considering we don't we as an entrepreneurs do not take it seriously, the business of fashion, the fashion business, we will never grow. You are only as good as how much you sell in a month.
Right.
Period. It is business. While our brothers and sisters in other parts of the continents, for them it's business. For us, it is, I don't know, I really do not know how to put it. And I think this story is same throughout. Whether you are in Ethiopia or you are in Senegal. I saw Adama here. I mean, you know, it's the same story going throughout Africa. And I think I've shown in about, say, 18, 19 African countries. The same story. It is the same sad story going throughout Africa. But Africa is very, very, very rich. Extremely rich. If we don't use our resources, who is for our grandchildren? Who is going to do it?
So so how can we change things then? I mean, you're a major player. I mean, you do fashion weeks. You have a design label. I'm sure you sit on different forums and councils and all that sort of stuff. What can we do, or what do you suggest that we do to change this?
One thing first, change our mindset. We need to change our mindset as an individual. If you are a designer and you want to design, not for the glory, not for the I don't know, I was featured in this magazine or that magazine, that's PR, you get me? Or not for, I don't know, selfies, whatever case, or just to be famous, you know? You are designing because it's business. That is not your bread and butter only, but it's your job too. So it is your business. And in business, it is like you have to earn money. You have to earn living. But a business which has to be scalable. You start, if you are making, I don't know, 50 dresses a month, what are your plans? What are your 2-year plans? What are your 5-year plans? Where do you see yourself? Will you just be a Malian designer, or you will be the biggest designer in West Africa? But not only in terms of brand value, but also financial value. What is your net value? What is your value? And how can you achieve that? Once you take your business seriously, and other people will take you seriously. And then, I mean, there's
you make some very good points.
The quality of your work, the pricing of your work, the workmanship, what market segment are you targeting? Those are all part of the business. So in short, you need to get your Bible right. You need to get your Quran right. And what is your Bible? It is your business plan. Do you have a business plan as a designer? Because a fashion week, fashion platforms give you an opportunity to showcase your creativity. But it's from that platform when business starts. Because when people see your creativity, when people see your workmanship, that's when the orders start coming. But until then, and that's why those platforms are there.
Wow, you've just really scattered my brain with a lot of the things you said, because this is real. You're seeing it as it is. You know, one of the things you said earlier was that a lot of designers are still promoting or pushing Western designs or Western clothes. I mean, like in West Africa and South Africa, for example, we started seeing, or I believe we started seeing an awakening of indigenous designers and products. And it's been going on for a while, but it seems a little bit more pronounced now. What is it like in East Africa? Is there a shift towards indigenous and promotion of African designs, or are you still very much in that, well, we want to dress Western? You know, what's it like there at the moment?
I'll be straightforward. You know, fashion, it depends on the designer and the kind of garment he does. So in Tanzania, the people who are just doing weddings and customized gowns, and then and now we have this emergence of designers who are having what we call they're doing more of retail garments. So when you individual, you need to create a market for yourself. You need to create a product. The market is there. The market is there. And what is the unique selling point for your product, for your garment? For example, we have traditional weddings, and now we have designers. We have brides and grooms coming to, I want a traditional outfit for my wedding. We will create for them. And then there are some designers who just create such kind of clothing, traditional clothing, and there is a market for them. So sometimes if I can't do it, I will recommend another designer to do it. And that's a point which I would also reiterate. We designers tend to think that we are too selfish. But there is a piece of cake for everybody. So if you get, so sometimes you might get a huge corporate order of shirts, but because you don't have the capacity, you're willing to lose that instead of just taking that order and distribute it towards all the other designers. And this has, at the end of the day, but because we are not money-minded, we are not thinking it as a business, we are thinking emotionally. And this is what I've realized over the career. This heart does not work. At the end of the day, it is only this part which works. So in fashion, we have to think with the brain, not with the heart.
You're so right. I mean, I wish people could really listen to this. We're going to keep it up there, and I'm hoping people will come back and watch it, because you said what you're saying to people now is the sort of things I say to people every single day. Run your business as a business. It's not a hobby. It's not meant to be a socialite thing. It's meant to be a business where you make money. I mean, you've set up and managed and run and are the founder of the Swahili Fashion Week, okay, which is, there's no shadow of a doubt, has become and is the biggest fashion event in East and Central Africa. So one of the common issues that I found in the fashion industry is that we're given a lot of applause for our creativity, but it doesn't seem to be attracting international brands to their communities to set up businesses. Why is this the case? So, you know, you go outside of Europe, you go to Singapore, you go to Asia, and all these brands, H&M, Marks and Spencer, Macy's, you name it, they're all there. But even though we do some such big fashion weeks, even though we have the financial backing to buy the clothes, they don't come to our shows. They don't get involved in our industry. Why?
And Shola, we do not need them.
Wow.
Why do we need them?
I like
Why do we need them, Shola? Why does a fashion week in Kinshasa need, I don't know, a magazine, a media from, a big brand house from Japan or I don't know, America? Why? If you only need that, if you are in Gambia, and Gambia Fashion Week, and the designers in Gambia are probably are dressing 75%, they've saturated their market in Gambia. That means each and every Gambian is wearing clothes made in Gambia. Then maybe now you need to invite the others to come so that you can export. But if you are not even dressing 1% of your population, combined effort, then why do we need to go outside? Let's saturate our own market, our market for Madagascar. Why do we need that? I think we call it kasumba in Swahili. We just have this thing of trying to appease, you know, our former colonial masters. Why? You know, the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. And that's what's, we are not looking at all the, we should look as glass half full than half empty. Swahili Fashion Week is a platform for designers from Swahili-speaking countries. And we have had designers who have been showcasing loyally for the past 12 years, 10 years, continuously. It is that one platform. If an international media wants to come to cover, karibu sana, you're most welcome. But I'm not going to bend over the back to flying people. For what? In this, especially in this age and era where there's media happening, you are live. Why do when you are live in your fashion week, whether it is the Senegal Dakar Fashion Week or a Kaftan show or Addis Hub or whichever event, I can see it online. Why? So why do I have to get people in? Have I saturated the market? So me being the chairperson of the Fashion Association of Tanzania, and also being part of the Commonwealth Fashion Council, I just want to say, have we saturated our market? Once we have saturated our market, we have surplus, then we need to start thinking going beyond our boundaries. So my brother, our intra, do you know what is our intra? Our intra-Africa trade is about 15%. The trade happening within Africa, it is so low.
Okay.
Hello? I'll give you an example. Like Tanzania is a member of East African Community, right? We have access one common market, custom common market of 177 million people. How much of Tanzanian clothing is available in Uganda? How much of Kenyan clothing is available in Burundi? Forget about that. We are a member of SADC, South African Development Corporation. 300 and I don't know how many million people, 365 million. Yes, South African brands like Mr. Price and Woolworths, that's available in Tanzania and other SADC countries. But what about Rwanda? Rwanda is not part of SADC, sorry, DRC. how much of DRC products is available in Angola, or how many of Mozambican designers' work is available in Namibia. We are so far and we are so slow. We have a long journey ahead of us, and it is not the government who has to bring in the change. It is us, the private sector, and we are the private sector in the apparel and fashion. If we not bring change, whom are we waiting for? Jesus to come back and bring us the change?
Oh God! Please, if people have got.
It's true. Shola, you're talking about mock designs. How much? Let me give you. Let me give you an example of how where the money is made out of. Import all our zips, yet there is a factory in Madagascar which. Remember, we import our zips, yet there is a factory in Madagascar which produces buttons and zips, and there are factories in South Africa which does the same, and in Mauritius. But no, we get our zips and all the accessories and trimmings from China and India. Tanzania produces one of the biggest crop is cotton. And Tanzania exports its how stupid is that? Instead of having like I went to Addis Ababa and they have a one-stop, the Ethio-Turkey factory where the cotton is ginned, the yarns are made in one compound, fabrics in the compound, and apparels are made in the same compound. If Ethiopians can do it, why can't Burkina Faso do it? Why can't Cote d'Ivoire do it? Why can't Senegal do it? Why can't Tanzania do it? So we take all our money, our hard-earned money. The money goes out of Africa instead of the money circulating within our own economies. So that is a big problem. We import, even machinery we import. So when will we develop our own technologies? We can't, because we are reliable to I just want to ask you one challenge. Today,
Yes.
If I'm in agriculture, okay? If I import anything regarding agriculture, whether it is a farm equipment or fertilizer or anything related to agriculture inputs, it is zero VAT. I don't have to pay value-added tax. But today, if I import machinery for a production line, you have to pay tax, VAT. You have to pay value-added tax. So there are no incentives there are no incentives for startups, right? And there are no incentives for scaling up the production. And you know who is to be blamed for it? It is us, private sector, because the government's job is to do policies and create favorable policies. Now, if we had a strong association like Active, I also the board of Active, Africa Cotton Textile, they are very strong. They lobbied until the AGOA got extended until 2025. Yeah, the AGOA trade tariff with America got extended until 2025 because active lobbied with the Congress in America, because a lot of jobs were at stake. Today we have Mazawa, we have that production unit from whose HQ is in Hong Kong, in Tanzania. So we as private sector, we as Fashion Association of Tanzania, or the Nigeria the Fashion Association, or the respective fashion associations in their country, they need to they need to work with the government to explain to them that, look, this needs to be lobbied, this needs to be done. And once you do that, the government will listen to you once they see the benefit. But if nobody tells them, they're not going to know. They're going to focus on mining and tourism, because and transport and logistics, because those are big private sector bodies.
Yeah.
And fashion will always be left as a tailor, will always be looked down as upon a tailor. And that can only be changed once we start thinking as business. Fashion is a business. And not only the designers, everybody in the value chain, whether you're a photographer, fashion photographer, you're a makeup artist, whether you are a stylist, whether you are an accessory designer, everybody in the fashion industry, the entire value chain, once they start thinking as business, the business of fashion and fashion as business, that's when the true change will come.
I mean, I have to agree with you 1,000,000%. And I hope people that are listening on this, because we got people from all over, are taking this on board. But what I found, Mustafa, is that we are very selfish. You are passionate about what you do. I know I'm passionate about what I do. And I know that I can make sacrifices like you do, which is you sit on different boards, you give your time, you give your money, you give your wisdom, your experience. But a lot of people are not like that. So is that not the problem that we're facing? And this is not just in West Africa. Is that not the problem we're facing in East Africa as well? That everybody is about themselves. And the second part of that is that this new social media era is that people, I'm not even sure people are designers anymore. They just want to be celebrities, and they use fashion design to be a celebrity. What do you think about that?
Look, Shola, this is my theory, right? In each and every business, right? In each and every business, we have to be protective. Whether you are in the transport and logistics business, whether you are farming rice, or you are in tourism, whatever business you are, it is competition, right? But you have a common agenda. And when you have a common goal, and the common goal is to take your business to the next step, we don't have, that's where the problem is. In the fashion industry, and this is throughout the art industry, the art and entertainment industry, we are very emotional.
True.
That business is emotional. And I think I was emotional. But we need to, so as you grow, you need to understand that it is not personal. It is, we just have common agendas in business. So the moment you start thinking fashion as a business, that emotion will automatically go away.
Right.
Oh, my design, there's nothing like my design. That t-shirt you are wearing, Shola, I will take the t-shirt and I'll just put, I don't know, a button here. And there is no way you can say that it is, I stole your design. There's no way you can take me to any court. I'll say, but I added value to the t-shirt. I put a button, black one. So the biggest challenge with people in the creative sector is they are emotional. They think, again, as I said before, with the heart, not with the brain. And we are selfish. right?
Yes.
So, oh, no, doesn't matter when during the fashion show, whether you open the show or close the show, we have too much drama. You should focus on selling your clothes. That's why they say creative is not enough. Creativity is not enough. You need to have business sense. And that's where somebody has to draw a line. If you're a designer, you need to understand, will I be a risk taker and become an entrepreneur? Or I rather be employed and be very happy working for somebody. So this is where the line comes in. And you have to be honest to yourself, because it's not easy being honest to oneself.
It's not. I mean, you've made some fantastic observations. You've said it as it is. It's very true. Please, if you've got any questions, guys, we've got about another 8 minutes or so. Please, if you've got any questions for Mustafa, he'd be ready to take them on board. Just type them up, and I will answer them, because I also want you to ask him what you want to hear. So it's not just what I want to hear or what I've been saying. I want to ask you a very this question. Which fashion industry do you think is better? West Africa.
Sorry?
I said, which fashion industry do you think is better? West Africa, East Africa, or South Africa? I want to be a bit controversial here.
Look, I have an intimate knowledge of West Africa. I have intimate knowledge of a little bit of knowledge from Northern Africa, East Africa, Central Africa, and South Africa, and the Indian Oceans.
Okay.
Yeah, and then there's so I'll be very honest. I'll call a spade and not a big spoon. So. Fashion in Africa is divided majorly amongst two lines. Okay. That's the Anglophone and the Francophonie.
Okay.
And then there's the Lusophones, right?
What's
the Lusophone?
What's that?
Lusophones, the Portuguese, the Cape Verde, the Angola, Mozambicano. So those ones, right?
Okay.
And I will say it, and I've always been saying that we were colonized by the British, okay? And they did not have style, right? Fashion was not imbibed into, it was not one of their things, you get me? They were very much into finance, structuring, law, and all those kind of aspects when they colonized us. But the Francophonie, it is je ne sais quoi, the way you eat, the wine, the art, the art, just the art, you know, the art scene, even the musica, you know, it's how the creativity was very, very important, right? That is what was Francophonie Africa. The food, the pain, you know, the bread. So fashion, the Paris Atelier, you know, it was more vibrant than even the courtiers of the England. So and that fashion went right through Lebanon, the Middle East, and West Africa. So that is the remnants. So that's why I prefer everything in the entertainment scene, whether it is the Francophonie music, the Francophonie food, the fashion, the way they tailor, the immaculateness of the tailoring. So even if you go to the streets of Niamey, or you go to the streets of Ouagadougou, or Senegal, for crying out loud, you will see the difference, the way people dress. And I'm not talking about, I'm talking about the ordinary people, the normal citizens. They take time, you know. And then you go on the streets of some of our British Commonwealth African countries, and you will see the contrast. And then one thing which has made the Nigerians stand out is because of, you know, Africa has always been loud and flamboyant.
Yeah.
Right from the east coast of Africa to the west coast of Africa. So colors have played a very important role. And, you know, the shape or the canvas, the silhouette of our women and our men have played a very important role. And because West Africa, they imbibe their culture into their daily lives, that has what we call spearheaded the growth of fashion in that part of the world.
Okay.
So yeah, I think in short, Francophone Africa.
Okay.
J'adore, j'adore. C'est élégant, c'est sensual.
I'm sure a lot of people will disagree with you. Mr. Bright Attire says, showcasing in a fashion show, is it okay to showcase what speaks outside of the brand specialization? I think what they're trying to say here is that if they do a fashion show, can they do something different than what they normally do as part of their brand?
So this is, you know, we are creatives. Fashion designers are creatives. And let me give you an example. Let me tell Mr. Bright Attire, you are very bright, sir. And I'll be straightforward to you. Use your brightness in your attire. And how do I mean by that? What do I mean by that? If you're going for a fashion week, right? And you are seated there as an editor, as a fan, as whoever you are. And there is one collection after another collection after another collection. And in a day, you could have seen probably 20 collections. Or if it is a night, you have seen probably 10 designers, their work. By the time you are leaving, you don't remember anything.
True.
After, and if there's a glass of wine and you have taken some more, then forget about it. Right? Now, what will keep you apart? And that's where it comes. A platform like fashion shows are platforms to show your creativity. Stand above the rest, to stand out. It is a platform for you to do your marketing and to do your PR. Give you an example. How will you, when you are making your collection for the runway, what are you going to do so that your collection stands out? What are you going to do? And to answer that, I had one experience, and I would like to share with you. Some few years ago, there was the Arise Fashion Week in South Africa.
Okay, yeah.
That was some years ago, some lot of years ago.
Yeah,
and
I remember.
I had done my entire collection with our local Kitenge fabric. Very colorful, the oranges and the yellows and the purples and the pinks. But when each and every model came out, I had parasols matching with that outfit. So when Naomi wanted to work with agency in Tanzania, Naomi Campbell, the agent remembered that there was this designer from Tanzania with umbrellas, parasols. That was stayed in her mind. And because that stayed in her mind, it was very easy for them to contact me.
Wow.
And I forgotten the one. And then if you have seen once in Nigeria Fashion Week, I mean Arise Fashion Week in Nigeria, we had a designer. I forgotten the name. I don't recall the name. Who had helmets from Ankara?
Oh,
you know, helmets from Ankara.
Itwan Bassi.
Itu and Basi, yes. It was in the front page in each and every newspaper. So when the editor is selecting, that's what sells at the end of the day. So yes, Ituan Basi was right before me. All the dresses were very simple. I don't even remember the dresses, but I remember helmets.
Yes, I remember it.
So that's how you need to be creative. So some people doing crazy things, during their show. It's all to make sure that show stands out. You will not remember the dresses, but you remember the brand name and you remember the drama with that show. And that's where you got a big PR tick. Exactly. And if somebody wants to hire me as a PR consultant, I'm available.
Don't worry. Anybody that needs him, contact me or go to his handle directly. I'll put you in touch with him. Mustafa, it's been fantastic having you. I mean, my head is just blowing up from all the great things that you've said, the knowledge that you've imparted to us. I mean, if more people like you, our fashion industry would be so big and enormous in Africa. It's clear that there's a lot of growth. There's a lot that can be done. And, we appreciate you and we appreciate the great stuff that you're doing. Guys, please send a big love heart, thumbs up, okay, to Mustafa for the great stuff that he's been doing and for coming on board. Their time difference is different than ours, so we really appreciate it. We thank you so much. Please stay safe. COVID is still out there, so we want you to stay safe. Mustafa, please keep the business growing. Any last few words for a quick 1 minute or less than that?
I think we each and every designer in its own respective workspace to play their part and to keep their arms open and just work as fashion as business. And once we have that in sight, I think the future for fashion in Africa, they've been saying it for so many years, and I'm still saying it now, it's too bright. We have not utilized it. And I think, on a parting note, I think it's up to us, but also the new generation coming to take it to the next level, to take fashion to the next level. And I think where there is a will, there is a way. And just on a parting note, John F. Kennedy said, don't ask what your country, in his inaugural speech, yes. Don't ask not what your country has done for you, what have you done for your country? So that each and every designer has to say, what input have I put into the country which or the town or the city I'm working from, and what value addition I have brought for my people, because at the end of the day, you are designing for your fellow people, human beings. So that's it.
Mustafa, thank you so much. Please be safe. Take care of yourself. They've given me less than 2 minutes to log off. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Be safe out there. Yeah. And good night.
Good night.
Everybody, that was such a great show. I mean, it was very insightful. There was so much said by Mustafa from Tanzania. He's a leading designer. He's on all the major councils. He does Swahili Fashion Week. I mean, we're really lucky to have him on board. We're going to be back again next week, Thursday. We have a great celebrity guest with us next week, Thursday. You don't want to miss that. And it's going to be our lifestyle edition. We also got Mahogany Models on Tuesday at 8 o'clock. I'm sorry, Mahogany International on Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Mahogany Models on Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Everybody out there, COVID is real. Please be safe. Practice social distancing. Wear your mask where you can. All right. We will come back.